Good afternoon, and thanks for joining me here today. My name is Rupert Knowles. I'm the Business Development Manager for tablet publishing at Adobe. And today we'll be talking about brand and how you can enhance your brand through tablet publishing. Contrary to what some people may say, the tablet publishing is not the same as web publishing. Tablets and mobiles are things that you can take with you. They're also things that allow you to create a more engaging experience, a more interactive experience. And we'll be looking at what that means for brands, whether you're a retailer or whether you're somebody like Vanity Fair. I think it's true to say that some brands have struggled to differentiate themselves on the web. It's not always easy to reinforce your brand, to use your own fonts and your own experience. If you compare your typical printed publication with a website, they'll often be very different for a variety of reasons. So we'll talk a little bit about the importance of tablets, things like the iPad, and then we'll look at how businesses are taking advantage of that and the sorts of brand publications that they're creating. One of the things we do see, though, especially in mature markets like the UK, is people are moving to digital in increasing numbers. This is a major trend, and all the figures show us that tablet users are not only more numerous than they were before, but they're also more affluent. So we're seeing figures, these are from the US, but they show that the average person who has a tablet tends to have more disposable income than somebody who doesn't. So brands want to obviously target those specific individuals, especially if they're aiming to resell content. We're also seeing content activity increase as well. These are the types of engagement they're using. People are using a variety of different types of applications on tablet publishing, so be it video or weather or shopping or the internet. So they're using it for a wide variety of different usages, and that's only increasing as more apps come onto the market, as more mobile websites are optimized for tablets. That's increasing. And we're also seeing a massive increase in the number of apps that actually appear. So over the last 12 months, we can see that's a significant increase. So publishers and brands are creating more and more apps to target the growing number of mobile devices that are out there. I don't need me to tell you. You've probably all seen the statistics around the growth of things like the iPad and how quickly people are moving to using mobile devices to consume content on the web rather than on desktop devices as well. So publishers and brands obviously need to meet that growing shift and growing demand around the proliferation of devices. And of course, as it increases, the number of install bases also increases much higher. And that's across Apple, it's across Kindle, it's across Android devices. We did some research, and there were some interesting things. We found that 60% of tablet shoppers are likely to actually buy something, transact on their device. The fact that you've got your mobile with you at all times, a lot of people do. The fact that you're more likely to be sitting in your sitting room, on your lounge with your tablet, it's more accessible. A lot of people sit in front of the TV and they'll also have the tablet available at the same time. It's just a lot more easier to transact if I've actually got it there in front of me rather than going to the laptop or going to the desktop computer. Again, all the figures are showing that people are more inclined to start using mobile devices. And I think we'll see this. I don't know if it's already taken over, but browsing on the internet is soon to exceed browsing on things like desktop computers. And that's especially true in emerging markets as well, where mobiles are more prevalent than they are than desktop machines are as well. Tablets, again, we're seeing much more on tablets themselves, maybe because they're bigger devices, they're bigger screens, they're able to display and explain the product in more detail. We're also seeing a bigger uptake on tablets versus pure mobiles, where the screen is obviously a smaller there as well. Okay, and the other thing we're finding is, because with a tablet application, and I'll show you some examples a little bit later on, you're able to really reinforce the brand. You're able to take everything that's great about your printed identity, all of your logos, all of your typography, the layout, and you're able to reproduce that electronically, that it really encourages people to associate with that brand. And what we're seeing is, especially in the tablet space, rather than people just creating a catalog, for example, rather than just redoing the printed version of the catalog and creating an app for that, if you do that, people just won't download it. Why are you going to bother downloading a replica of a printed catalog? Why don't I'll just go to the website. So what a lot of brands are doing is they're creating experiences. They're creating inspirational publications to inspire you to buy. So it's more about things like, if you're doing if you're into cookery, so Lakeland's a good example. If you look at their paper printed catalog, it has a lot of part numbers, a lot of items, and it's very densely designed, and it's got just about every single product they sell within the catalog. If you compare that to the digital version is all about inspiration. It's got lots of recipes. It's got lots of ideas for what you might do with their equipment. And then if you scroll right to the bottom of the page, they've got a few links. So they might talk about an ice cream maker, and they'll talk about all the great different flavors of ice cream, and they'll have some music, and they'll have some great photography. And then at the bottom, they've got then those links to be able to go off to their website, where you then transact on their existing e-commerce site. So tablet apps are very much around inspiration. It's about quality, reinforcing that brand around quality as well. We'll see this example a little bit later on as well. Sotheby's. So Sotheby's auctions, obviously, they typically deal in very high-value items, and it's a global business for them. Increasingly, in places like Russia and the Far East, a lot of their customers are coming from there. And if you look at a traditional Sotheby's printed catalogue, it's a big, thick, expensively produced publication. And obviously, Sotheby's want to present a certain brand. If they're selling pictures in the millions of pounds, they need to create the right sort of impression. And a lot of these magazines are actually collector's pieces. And what they wanted to do in the tablet space was recreate that same experience. But in the tablet realm, obviously, they don't incur shipping cost. They don't incur storage cost for all of the magazines, and these are expensive things to ship. And they do something like 300 publications a year. So they create a lot of content, and I'll show you an example. So they're able to take all of the great things that people love about their printed catalog, and then enhance it, and then add some video background about a particular artist. The ability to zoom in on a picture and see some of the fine detail. Ability to take notes. A lot of people might scribble on their catalog or put post-it notes. So they've recreated that sort of experience where I can go through the catalog and I can make notes, and I can search for artists. The other thing they do is, after the auctions happened, is they update the app with the actual prices that items were sold for. So you've got your list price, and then afterwards you can download the update and actually find out at the auction what that went for. Okay, so we'll have a look at those in a moment. So these are the things that shoppers value most. Obviously, everybody likes money off. That's always important. But also, it shows here that they actually value interactive elements as well. So what do they find engaging? What encourages them to browse, to look? It's finding things that are interactive, that they can touch, that they can explore. We just had a presentation from the Daily Mail that use our platform to create their daily paper, and they've enhanced their paper with a whole load of interactive additions. And they had the photographs of all the people at the BAFTAs, and you can touch the photograph of the particular actress or actor, and if you touch them, then you can see the back photo as well. So not only can they use the existing photos they use in the newspaper, but they can also enhance that with extra content because you've got a digital publication. You can add in the video, you can add in multiple pictures. You don't have to choose. Interactivity, ability to purchase via the app as well. I'm on a connected device. I can go out to purchase that very easily just by clicking. And one of the things that Apple have been really good at is making it really easy for you to purchase their own content. And that's really helped digital publications take off, especially in the paid space. Because once I'm signed in with my Apple ID, I can just click and they remove that barrier. Amazon have also done a very good job of that as well. So it's about removing barriers, making it easy for people to purchase within those apps as well. So there again, you can see the comparison between tablet and smartphone as well. Smartphone similar, but actually even more so. People like the interactive. And we'll see in a moment how ASOS, the fashion retailer, they're often seen as very much a leader in the digital realm in terms of their web presence, and they're also leading the way really in their digital presence as well. They started off on the iPad. And now they also offer a publication on their mobile phone as well. They do a weekly on the mobile phone around inspiration. We'll touch on that and see that in a moment. Okay. The other thing as well is that if I walk around and I'm with some mates and I've got an iPad, it's much easier to share and show that. Again, if you've got a mobile or you've got a tablet device with you, it's easier to share and show somebody else. Whereas if I'm online, it might not be so easy. We found that here, 53% of people actually show a product or an article. They actually show that in person. Now, we also have an ability to share with Facebook and email, but it's not as high as you might imagine. So that capability is in there, but you've still got this ability to share. And if you create a very engaging experience on a device, then you're more likely to share that with somebody else. You're more likely to say, look at this, look at this particular article, or look at this kettle. You can spin it around and look at all sides, or look at this new car, for example. So if you do create those sort of engaging things, people are more likely to share. And this again, this is quite a shift from traditional web publishing via the internet, via desktop computers. So we very much see that tablets and, in fact, mobiles are the future of shopping. I don't think we won't see print disappear just yet, but I think that you'll see both. Publishers and brands will need to do both. Okay, so what do tablets and catalogs need to do? Really develop, create a compelling shopping experience, deliver something that people are going to want to download that's inspirational. I've seen some people just create a digital catalogue and nothing more. Why would I download that? That's the question you've got to ask yourselves. How do I enhance my brand? Is that working for me? Are people going to go to the effort of downloading that? Remember, there are thousands and thousands of apps out there. It can be challenging to make yours stand out from the crowd. But obviously you want to drive new revenue as well. And also you don't necessarily want to make this a massive cost in your business. Some brands go and hire a load of developers, or they outsource it and they create a bespoke customized app. That can work for some companies. It can be very expensive. If you need to make changes, then obviously you need to get the developers back in and to make those changes. So it's worth looking at different ways of going to market. At Adobe, we use our traditional design tools. So businesses can create digital versions of their paper magazines, but using their same skills and the same tools that they use for their printed magazines. So the people that are best skilled in designing and laying out a traditional publication can now do the same for digital. So we're empowering those same designers with the ability to add video, audio, the ability to do slideshows, to then link that back to the web. And they're often the best communicators within these companies. And I think the last sort of element is around analytics as well. If you create a printed version of a catalogue and just send it out there, it's very hard to know what the impact of that. If you distribute 20,000 catalogues, How much revenue has that brought in? It's quite hard to work that out. You can do some market research and do a sample and try and find out. Say, you looked at that, did you buy it? But obviously in the digital world, we've got analytics. We're able to say how many people clicked through and actually bought that product. We're able to say, what did people look at? If nobody looked at the video on the ice cream maker, well, don't bother doing that again. Or maybe there's a reason why. Maybe they couldn't find it or whatever. So we're able to analyze and assess what people are looking at, how long they're spending on a particular article. But we can also look at the route through the magazine as well. So we can see from the table of contents or from the cover page, 20% of people went to page 4, then they went to page 6, and we can track this. And that works whether you're online or offline as well. And that delivers tremendous information for the business. They're able to see the effectiveness of that platform, but then also optimize their content as well. So it's about a number of things. It's about obviously interactivity and engagement, the ability to very easily add that, T-commerce or tablet commerce integration. So how do I actually sell stuff, which is obviously the end game here. We want to be able to convert those readers into buyers. Social sharing, this is also important. If I'm looking again at, here we've got a food example. If I want to share that article with somebody else, get them to have a look at it. And if, on our particular platform, if you share it with somebody who's got a desktop computer, we will create an HTML version on their web browser so that you don't even need to have an iPad or have an Android device to be able to see that article. So we could do sharing, and again, it's about cross-platform compatibility. Also, geo-targeting is becoming more important. These devices, of course, they've got location-based services on there, and you can actually hook that in. So you can go, well, where's my nearest store? And then it could bring up a map, and then it could show you, based on your current location as well, where the local store is. So you can take advantage of the capabilities on the device to start adding more. And more people are expecting these sorts of integrations. Loyalty program integration as well. And we're seeing this. Obviously, the big supermarkets started off with loyalty programs. That's expanding to a variety of different brands. So I can enter my loyalty information in there, and then we can present special offers and special promotions just for that particular individual, or we can do it based on your spend or based on your location. You can pick and choose how you want to filter and deliver specialist content, but all within one container app. And ultimately, obviously, it's about delivering customer retention as well. Okay, creating a good experience so they're going to want to come back to. So we have things like notification services. So send a note saying the Christmas issue is out now, for example. Go and grab it, so we can push messages down to people who've got the app to let them know what's new. And of course, analytics, which I've talked about. The final thing before we go in and show you some examples is maximizing app awareness. So if you are building apps, it's a challenge, because if you look at Apple Store, for example, there's a sea of, I don't know how many thousands of apps. It obviously changes. It's probably added about 1,000 since I started this talk. But it's quite a challenge to have your app stand out from all of the games and everything else that's on there. So it's important to cross-promote your app. So if you've got traditional communication channels, whether it's print, whether it's the web, then you can put in links into those sites. You can put in QR codes on your website or in your printed magazines to allow people to scan. So it's important to promote and obviously make people aware of that app. Don't just assume just because you create an app that they will come. It's important to make people aware, and also use Facebook and all the usual sorts of channels for that. So let's have a look at some customer examples, and we'll show you some real world apps here. Let me just switch over to my iPad. We'll have a look. Actually, let's have a look at mobile phone version first of all. So this is ASOS, and this is their weekly publication, and they wanted to create a small, relatively lightweight weekly publication for fashion, creating inspirational magazine effectively. So they've got this very simple, easy to use fashion publication here that I can just swipe with one finger. And if I like these glasses, I can go and have a look at those in a little bit more detail. And if I click on there, then that will take me straight to the internet. I've turned my phone off, so I won't get calls during this presentation. But that would then pop up and take me straight to the shopping cart application on their website for those specific pieces of for those specific glasses. So, and then it stores it in my shopping cart. And when I hit done, so you imagine the web page is there. When I hit done, it takes me straight back to the page I was reading. But it's really simple, clear ability to navigate around. And they've got other things in here like, oops, sorry, it's going to the shopping cart application again. We've got a slideshow in here. I can look at the different designs. I can share it as well. So if I like this particular outfit, I can then hit the share button and send that off to Facebook, everything else. And remember, this was all created by a designer. There's no coding, no programming involved in doing this. So the same team that do their printed publication can also craft and create this interactive version as well. And it's got fashion tips in here. We've got some animation and various other things. As I say, they're creating this on a weekly basis. There we go. We've got some video as well here. But what they've been very careful to do is optimize the content for the size of the screen. So, you know, some magazines, they do a sort of pinch and zoom on the... so they take their printed version, create a sort of a PDF, if you like, and then stick it on the iPhone, and then you've got to pinch and zoom and scroll around. It's not a very good experience, not necessarily reinforcing your brand in perhaps the way you want to. So that's worth having a look at, just to see what's possible there. Okay, let's have a look at this application now. Okay, here we go. So here are some of the publications created with Adobe DPS. We have a look at John Lewis. They do their Editions magazine using our platform, and they've taken the basis for their print Christmas catalogue. But of course, they never run out of this one. It's always available for people to download, even when their print version does die out. But you can obviously provide additional interactivity in here. Rather than just having one picture of these shoes, they can provide a 360. And all that is they've just got a photographer to take a series of photographs of the shoe rotating. Then you just point InDesign at that file of images, and then it allows you to animate. So they've taken a fairly simple approach. A lot of this same content I'm using for the print publication and just repurposing it here. Again, Christmas tree decorations. You get the idea. Another example here is Lakeland, which I mentioned earlier. So here with the Lakeland app, if I just go... So this is what we call a multi-edition. So they've got multiple publications they launch throughout the year. This is the default view. You can create your own custom front end if you want on this particular view here. And let's go and have a look again. We'll do a Christmas theme here. Pick the Christmas one here. If you compare this to their printed magazine, again, very, very different. It's all about inspiration. And again, if you compare this to their website, it's very different from their website. We can pop up recipes here, descriptions. And then at the bottom, we've got all the products I used to create those chocolates. So we're creating inspiration around that, creating recipes, got videos, explanations. And then when we come down here, I can then click on one of these links. And again, it'll take me to the internet to buy that particular product when I'm ready to purchase that. So again, quite different to what we've seen before. Here's another example. Again, this is just an image sequence, just a series of stop motion photography that they then placed. And a lot of this is about, it's about a bit of fun as well. It's important to make fun. It's encouraging people to explore and look through your publication. If you don't know what's going to be on the next page, if there's something interesting, engaging, you're more likely to have a look and have a browse through that magazine. You're also more likely to share it with somebody else and show somebody else and go, well, have a look at this. And you've got all the beautiful photography. And photography really shines on these devices. It really does look fantastic. It's like having a backlit photo frame, effectively, for all your photography there. So again, we scroll down. Multiple articles in there. Let's have a look at one more. I'll have a look at ASOS here. Sorry, not ASOS, Sotheby's. So again, Sotheby's is a multi-edition catalogue. They've recreated they've taken the print version and enhanced it. So this is the cover from one of their auctions. Obviously, animated cover here. If we scroll through, we've then got their menu. We can go and look at some of these featured publications. We've got video in there talking about the auction. If we can also do a search and then find a particular artist. Okay, then it will bring up that particular artist. There we are, with a guide price of 3 to 5 million. And then we can click on that and it will take us to that. If I click on this picture, then we can zoom in and look at the detail. And I think if I was spending what is it? Around $5 million on a picture, I'd want to look at the finer detail as well. But if you compare this to the printed magazine, you'll see that the brand is very similar. They're using the same typography. They're using the same presentation as they've got for the print. So it's got that commonality, but obviously they've enhanced it with video, with slideshows, with the ability to pan and zoom. So they're creating a product that's, got even more depth than the printed version. They've got, again, the background. I can look at some of the associated pictures here with that particular article. And when you're selling a product for that expense, you want to have that sort of level of engagement and that sort of interactivity. Another example here is Adidas. And they've launched a series of outdoor sportwear. So they want to, again, have a load of articles around mountaineering and, again, creating inspiration, bringing people to look at their publication, but obviously with the aim of reinforcing Adidas as an outdoor wear company, not just creating sports shoes, but also other types of gear that people may want. So if we press play here, got this full screen video. And obviously they've then got product features here, and we can swipe through, I think. There we go. Touch on various parts of the jacket. So you can start bringing the products to life as well here. again, some great photography. Really brings it to life. And scrollable sections. So you can see how very richly designed, richly laid out publications that their existing design team can do. Don't have to program or code, and it allows them to get to market very quickly. Once their app's been approved, they can create new publications and update them whenever they like, delivering them not just to iPad, but as we've seen, mobile phones and also Android devices. One of the things in this particular marketplace is how quickly things are changing. The market's changing incredibly quickly. New devices are coming onto the market and disappearing, different sizes, different capabilities. Apple makes significant changes. They introduce subscriptions, they introduce Retina displays, they introduce iPad mini, they introduced iPad 5. Things change very, very quickly. What Adobe are trying to do is deliver a platform that keeps up with those changes and allows businesses to take advantage of the latest platforms and the significant changes that do happen in the marketplace. One of the challenges if you're creating your own and building your own apps is keeping up with those changes and technologies. I mean, I think the iPad is it 2 years old? It's about 2 years old. But already we've seen multitude of changes during that time. If you want to see any of the examples that I've showed you today, Adobe have got a stand here. Over in the Publishing Expo side of the theatre, you can see some of the examples. We've got people there that can talk you through how you would go about creating these and talk a little bit about the workflow behind those as well and what's actually involved in doing that. I'd just like to open it out now. We've got a few minutes. If anybody's got any questions on what I've been talking about? Any questions? We've got a microphone over here. Nope. Okay. Well, if you want to ask me, I'll be around afterwards as well. So please do. But anyway, thanks very much for listening and your time today.